if one of us is the chat, I hate you.
Hello and welcome to episode number 75 of Unrelenting. We have not yet relented. I'm Darren. He's Gene. And it was a rainy day. You said what now?
25 more to go.
That's it? We hit the 100 and we're done.
Well, that was the bet, wasn't it?
Was it that we could actually stand each other for 100 episodes? Like, no, what's the over? What's the under?
Well, ask Bemrose.
We have at least one fan. There are people that are still on No Agenda Social. Like, oh, wait, Grumpy Old Ben's came back. And it's like, like 13 months ago now.
Uh-huh.
I guess we're not good at marketing any of these shows.
And by we, you're referring to you?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to market Grumpy Old Ben's, but this one maybe. I mean, you're on the marketing team here.
I retweet the tweets on Twitter.
We reach. Yes, that is giving it 110% right there.
It's giving it 100 people.
That's true because you had a very slow start. I mean, of course, you haven't been kicked off Twitter yet, but that'll happen.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm slow posting there, dude. It's probably one a day.
You're much less chance to get knocked off then.
Ironically, I can actually post a lot more because I'm a paid person. Everybody who's not paid is really bitching right now. You heard about the limiting. It's
a very weird concept. I get
you can only read 600 tweets.
Yeah, I get limiting people's posting ability. I don't know if I understand limiting the reading. I mean, I understand.
No. I'm right there with them, man. I'm a big believer in blocking people.
Well, it's the data scraping bit that it is getting Elon all butthurt. I believe that Elon's like, you know what? I got this big thing I paid billions of dollars for. There's a lot of data that people want. Well, pay if you want to scrape it. Don't take it all for free, which I'm always intrigued when you run. I mean, most things still don't limit when you hit on them. Meaning you go to a website and if they have a bunch of audio or video or whatever it is, most of the time, if you have a way to scrape all of that data, the website doesn't care. It'll just let you do it at whatever speed it can. It doesn't go, let's see, you've downloaded 18 hours of video in the last 20 minutes. That seems
exactly.
That seems a little weird. But Elon's going, hey, wait a minute. We need to limit this at the very least. But I think that's a big negative for actual you, because there's a limit you could put on it that would make a little bit more sense. And because it's like, how long does it take somebody to read 600 posts? Like 5 seconds on Twitter?
No.
A little more. And it's like, what counts as reading?
If you're actually reading it, if you're not a computer scanning the shit, if you're actually reading it, you're not going to read more than one post a second.
So 600 in, and what is these?
10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, yeah. And that's per day that it's giving you, right?
Right. 10 minutes a day for free. But that's a lot of, that's an intense 10 minutes. That's work.
Yeah. That's, a little bit bizarre. That's all I'll say.
I don't know, dude. I think this is exactly what should have happened. He's right on the right track. And I think it's going to do two things. One, it'll probably double the number of people that pay.
Oh, it is going to encourage paid people who are like, I need this. Because there are some people that are like, but my favorite, before you go on. And
go ahead.
My favorite was people like, but I use it for business. It's like, well, then pay, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. You have nothing to bitch about in that regard.
If you use it for business, you can afford the $8 a month.
Yeah. Or actually the business I think is 50. But the other thing it's going to do is going to cut down on stupid crap, just junk posts.
Well, it's not going to stop people who have paid from posting whatever they want.
No, but you realize that it's like 5% paid, 95% free accounts on there.
So what you're saying, a lot of people are going to think twice about who they are subscribing to.
No, they're going to stop using Twitter, which is what we want.
Which is what Elon wanted from the beginning.
That's what I want. Hell yeah.
Does he have something to bring everybody over to once this all crashes and burns? Or what is the end game for putting the money in? This is it.
He's talked about it. It's X.com.
But I thought Twitter was now X.com, or is that going to be something totally different soon?
Twitter is the X.com beta. And it's got very little of the features yet.
Everybody will have to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think free accounts will be for like 30 days.
Which isn't a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Although it's done, excuse me, and the bad side of this will be depending on how they allow people to pay. If you force somebody to use a credit card and have their actual name, well, then that's a different thing. I don't mind paying. I don't like we must identify everybody.
I think they're going to start requiring a photo of your driver's license.
Which is going to knock down the amount of people using it by about, everybody.
No, not at all.
You think this will actually encourage? So do you think this will actually weed through all of the scammers, all of the bots, and just leave real people?
It'll get rid of an awful lot of the bots and an awful lot of the people that have nothing good to say because they're using aliases. Absolutely. I think that this is the typical scenario. And I say this as somebody who ran bulletin boards in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
This shit has not changed because people's personalities have not. We all think, oh, it's great to have anonymity and not have to have anything traceable back to you. Here's the problem with that. There's a certain percentage of the population, and it's not a small percentage. It's not like 1%. It's a significant percentage of the population. Given the unbound ability to not be tied back to your actual person, they revert into complete asshole. Look at any chat in any video game.
Right. Well, any chat at all.
Yeah, but if you want to take conversations on Twitter seriously, as some small percentage of Twitter users do, because they're there for news and communication, and that's the group that pays, and that's the group that Elon wants to focus on. It's not people that are just shitposting. And I think for a long time, the problem with Twitter is it's been two large groups. One, liberal elites who've had check marks, and two, shit posters. And then everybody else is a smaller group below that. And this is why everybody said Elon way overpaid for it, because you're buying something with a bunch of free accounts with check marks and a bunch of shit posters. Why would you pay money for that? So I think his goal is to change it from that to more of I use Signal all the time with most of my friends. The communication is through Signal,
and with me,
and with people that are acquaintances that are not really friends. Yes, and there's no reason that Twitter wouldn't want to be replacing Signal, and they'd like to replace PayPal.
Well, especially the PayPal,
because
there's more money in money. I know that's hard.
There is more money in money, but if you become the de facto platform that's used, it's really what Facebook, I think, had for a long time, is people got on Facebook just to look up friends and other people, and then ended up getting stuck on there because that's where most of the communication was happening through. And as somebody that has always not been, well, I mean, I've had a Facebook account, but I've never used it. It's people looked at you funny when you said, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook. You can't send me shit through Facebook." Like, well, why not? So that's what Musk wants to get Twitter to, is that sort of ubiquitous. If you're an actual human being and not a shit poster anonymous type, then you will be able to communicate through Twitter.
Now, in the ultimate troll room available at trollroom.io, Cotton Gin wants to know, should the No Agenda folks then start charging for IRC access. And I would say, as with any of this, the IRC chat at most given times, I mean, right now it's 117 or something logged in during.
Yeah, but it's 110 of those are shit posters. So,
well, but there's a bar on what can be handled.
Yeah, well, I mean,
anonymously.
Look, he can answer the question better because I'm a perma-banned from there, so I can't even use IRC. But somebody who is on IRC should be able to answer. Would you pay $8 a month to be able to log in there? And I think the answer is no. Would you pay $8 a month to log into No Agenda Social?
I think some people would. No Agenda Social.
What percentage of people? Let me phrase it this way: of the people that follow us, what percentage do you think would still be on there?
I would say maybe 20 to 30%.
I'd say 6.
Wow. I'd say a little more.
Which is generous because the typical answer is 5.
Well, I think in this case, most people enjoy being a part of that community and understand that there are no ads and that the guy that's running it is not making money. I think everybody understands that when you go to free Twitter, free Facebook or whatever, you're being inundated by ads or you have to use massive ad blocking. And then if you use massive ad blocking, it's more and more common to get
blocking is theft.
Well, you get that pop-up that tells you that, and well, please disable your ad blocker, and then some won't let you do anything on the site unless you do that. And I think the people that understand go, okay, I'll pay a fair price for the people that use it daily. I think asking for $5 a month or so would not be out of the question. Yeah. Now, I think if it was like 20, 30, $40 a month, everybody's gone. But I think if you keep it
here's what I think. So two things, right? One is a lot of the people that use No Agenda Social are people that donate to the show No Agenda. And I think a lot of them would be pissed off if they would see it as double dipping if they're donating to a show that
but they know it's not the show running it. That's the difference.
But it's based around the show. And I don't think most people know it's not the show running. I think that's just a few of us know that it's actually a volunteer project completely unrelated to the show other than the name.
It's mentioned a lot by the Podfather, but I agree most people do not pick up on everything. And if you're not completely paying attention, you're like, I don't know. He keeps talking about this Aaroner guy. I don't know what he does while you're typing on No Agenda Social.
He mentions that nobody knows what they do.
Like Sir Gene. He's always like this Sir Gene, this guy he knows, and people are like, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Void Zero.
The magic man in the Netherlands.
Yeah, and some kind of rock father, something or other. I've never heard of these people. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they live.
That's anonymity is good. See,
yeah, it's good for not making money. Absolutely.
Yes, it's the way. Except for our buddy Dale, he came in again today. I mean, we're kind of just doing the show for Dale in Australia at this point,
and the rest of you are just guests listening to a private podcast for one person.
Yes, you're guests of Dale. So I mean, you can go through and make sure it's okay with him. But it'll be interesting. I mean, I think that I think something had to be done with the Twitters to make it usable. I'm not sure. I keep seeing the limit for people that are paying for how much they can post, getting as far as like how long the messages can be. That keeps getting longer. And I think that is the exact wrong way to go. Because this isn't meant to be a micro-blogging site.
Sentence. It only shows the first sentence until you click on it.
I guess that kind of makes sense. Well, then you have to get really good at SEO to give that first sentence.
Yes, indeed.
Because otherwise it's like, why would I click on that?
What's going to happen is every Twitter message will look like a YouTube short because the first sentence will always be, this person figured out how to solve the biggest problem in the world.
Right. And then it's how to get people to open up the Twitter post.
It says nothing about what's actually in there.
As you click on the show me more, it's like, I learned how to get people to click that thing you just clicked. And you see, exactly. I just did it to you.
There is a guy that does these videos on YouTube about how movies get sold to studios. I wish I could remember the actual brand of his YouTube channel, but it's basically a one-man thing. So he plays both parts. He's talking to himself in there, but it's basically a Hollywood person like pitching a movie to a Hollywood exec. And he does this for all the currently released movies. And of course, it's super funny because he highlights all the problems with the movie in the pitch. Normally I would say, well, somebody in the control room would know, but I
nobody knows what you're talking about.
Nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. No, well, often people do, but it's Ryan something. God, I wish I remember his name, but it'll come to me, or I'll look it up.
It's good comedy.
One or the other.
Our buddy Larry, that normally I do a show with on Mondays. We're doing a Monday show because we weren't here on Friday.
Yeah.
He at one point he sold a treatment to CBS. I don't know if it was made or if he just sold it to him, but either way, you get paid.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, whether they make it or not.
Did he get paid?
I believe so. And he's published books. I mean, he's the most powerful and popular and successful is probably the word I'm looking for podcaster. So,
well, that nobody can hear because he's below hearing range.
Definitely there. He got the hell out of Commie, California. That's why we.
Oh, good. Just as long as he didn't come to Texas.
No, I don't think he may be stopping in Texas, but he's not residing in Texas. He is not residing there.
Everybody else has come to Texas.
And but for Friday, we had the guy here doing the work, and that by Saturday was finished. The new air conditioner is working, so now I could be cool for the rest of the summer. Which is nice.
So that was the issue.
Yes. And he originally told me, well, I'll come out on like Friday afternoon to do the mainly the unhooking of the current unit.
Okay.
And then they were going to come and put the new unit in on Saturday. And then when I talked to him on Thursday night, he's like, yeah, I'll come out tomorrow. I'm like, okay, what time in the afternoon? He's like, well, I was thinking like between 10 and 12. I'm like, okay.
Well, could you not have said, how about you come out a different time?
Well, he's a friend and doing it for a good price. And
okay. So you're using non-union, non-contract labor. I see.
He is retired. Correct. He is non-union. Correct. Which is also very helpful when you want to get a better price.
Somebody might show up at your house.
I mean, union member. I know
you're in Chicago.
Yeah, well, we're in Will County. We're not in Crook County. So we're just off
every
over that
time
border.
It's convenient. You're not in Chicago.
I always say just outside, man.
Oh, I'm in Chicago,
just outside of Chirac. Oh my God, did they get some? I'm telling you, Mother Nature obviously not a NASCAR in Chicago fan because the rain was biblical this weekend. Yes, it cut both races short, which. They can race in the rain, but they won't race when there's standing water.
Yeah. But there was standing water in the Chi-Town?
This is the first time in my life, and granted, there's a lot of times I'm just not paying attention, but this is the first time that I ever remember hearing that 2 of the expressways going in and out of Chicago were closed due to flooding. So it's like if you either you weren't getting downtown or if you were already downtown, you weren't getting out. Because they shut the express. There was like over 3 inches of rain in a day or something that came down. They had to change the flow of the Chicago River rather than going into Lake Michigan. They divert it somehow. There's some crazy stuff going on. And I don't even understand. NASCAR is going to have to be given some refunds for the Saturday race because, baseball is one of those things.
Were they not no refunds?
I don't know, because here's the thing, like when baseball, on your ticket, it tells you that it's an official game, once they hit 5.5 innings. Well, NASCAR's thing has always been they're an official race if they hit 50%. So if you hit 50% of the advertised distance and then there's weather and they can't finish it. It has to at least be 50% to be an official race. They did not hit 50% on the Saturday race.
Oh, somebody's going to lose their job over this.
So a lot of people in Chicago.
Wow.
It was an entertaining race. Otherwise, although they only ran 75% of the race on Sunday because of a late start, which the weather was going to make this not an issue anyway. But with that said, their start time off the bat, the scheduled start time was like 4 p.m. And I'm like, that's a little late for when you're racing darkness. That's a little bit late. So
how long did they go? How many hours?
They went until it got dark. They went until a little after 8. They went 75 laps out of the 100 they were supposed to run on the main race yesterday.
Okay.
In a Kiwi won. Shane Van Gisert, he's a big name.
Van Gisert? Oh, yes, pretty big.
Everybody knows good old Shane Shane Van Ginsbergen. I want to be I mean, he's a Kiwi. I don't know. I mean, maybe Dale from Down Under. He may be a fan. This guy is a big
Ginsbergen.
Van Gisbergen. They call him the Giz, which I'm like, okay, that's very close to Jizz, but in Kiwi land, I guess that's cool. And this is the first time in 60 years that somebody running in their very first NASCAR Cup Series race won their very first race. It's the first time in 60 years. This guy gets in a car. So
he's the only guy that knew how to drive on what pavement?
Yeah, well, because that's what he's a supercar racer. So he is very used to running in the rain.
What the hell is a supercar?
It's I guess it's a car that's super. I mean, it's an enclosed stock car, but with the big wing on the back.
Right.
So it's not NASCAR at all, but it's more popular in the European area. They're a little more civilized than the NASCAR folk.
Well, you imagine doing the Formula One in the rain?
No, that's. Well, I forget the driver's name, but
3 seconds after a start, every car is crashed.
Like I just crashed this in practice this week and like went airborne before the car started flipping. It's like those guys are crazy.
Oh yeah. Their tires are totally bald, like they're meant to stick to the pavement. So
yeah, well that
doesn't work on rain.
That's what the NASCAR one normally does. That's why it's a very interesting thing because everybody started on the rain tires, and then the question was, when do you go to the slicks? Because the slicks are a lot faster. But if the slicks, if you go through a puddle, I mean, you might have a problem.
You'd be sideways. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much money, if anything, this brought in for the city of Chicago. There were a lot of people that were angered about this, including somebody that ran a bookstore like right off the track layout,
shutting down. Yeah.
That they didn't have to shut down, but we were worried for our customers. And I guess the building they're in, they're like, well, this is the original glass in the window from like the 1800s or 19. It was like over 100 years old or something, and they were worried that the vibrations from these cars going by might. Which I think would be hilarious. I mean, NASCAR would foot the bill. It would never get your original glass back. But I just think that would have been great for a commercial. Is these cars zooming down Michigan Avenue and watching the windows blowing out at the street level. I mean, the loaners do it anyway, so why not?
Well, there's a limited amount of time for this anyway, because before too long, the cars won't be making much noise because they'll all be electric.
Right. Instead of the big, impressive engine noise, you hear, oh. What was that, a mosquito? No, it was a car. Yeah, the sound is one of the more amazing things of these stock cars. And the speeds are pretty impressive, too, but it's the noise those things make. And, of course, noise.
Tesla.
No, you want to do a Tesla racing series?
Well, no, I think that'd be kind of cool. It'd be fun to watch. I think that here's what would be interesting about that is there's a nonlinear graph that represents the relationship between distance and speed, right? Because you're working off a battery.
Correct.
And so the question is going to be, the people that'll win the race will have to find the right speed, which is not the maximum speed that your car goes, that balances being faster than other people while still being able to finish the race.
Right, because if you can go 100 miles an hour.
And I think 100 miles total race distance would have to be about right, because otherwise the cars would be going way too slow. If you want to get 300 miles, you're going to be going like 60.
I think it'd be great if they went like 3 miles an hour and this was riveting television.
But it'd be like 60 to go, 300. So to go 100, you could go 110. So 110, 120 miles an hour for 100 miles. So it'd be a nice, quick, like hour and a half, maybe even broadcast. But some of the cars that will go faster at the beginning will run out of juice. Now, how exciting. I think that'll actually be way more exciting than watching normal NASCAR. Watching cars that have been leading the race all of a sudden run out of electricity.
Well, this is already kind of what happens on road courses because they play that game of fuel mileage. And that happens quite a bit, you know. I mean, and there's nothing which will fuck up the whole entirety of the field's day than a restart when somebody runs out of fuel in the middle of the pack.
If you're going around a big round track like Indianapolis, it's not that hard to calculate how much fuel is left and when you need to pit.
And the data that they're getting from these cars is amazing now.
You know, everything. Yeah, absolutely.
There was only one time where they went into a blind corner, which all of them pretty much were on the Chicago street course, where somebody spun out. And then, you know, of course, it's like a funnel and the funnel got clogged. And then every car coming in, hitting the corner like, whoop, everybody stop.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the fans enjoyed that part. I don't know if the driver, I mean, it was one of those things, if you looked at it as an outlier, it's only one race out of the year, and it's the only one that they've ever run as a sport.
And it'll probably be the one all the drivers complain about, so it'll never happen again.
It's going to go one way or the other. There was a lot of that leading up to it. Afterwards, the drivers seemed to have mellowed, and like we enjoyed the whole experience overall, and that it wasn't as bad. I think a lot of people thought there was going to be no chances to pass at all, and it was going to be horrible racing, and maybe the rain helped that. Maybe the conditions made it so these guys, the amount of cars that went head on into a tire barrier, got stuck, were pulled out, and then continued on was amazing. I'm like, damn, I wish I had that for the expressway where I could just ram my car into a barrier and be like, oh, I'm fine. Just pull me out. I'll go on my way. No damage.
Well, if you had a full frame in your car, you probably could.
True. These cars are a little bit more sturdy than the ones you're driving down the street.
Well, our cars are meant to absorb impact and deform.
Well, so are these because they're traveling at such a high rate, but these the impacts weren't enough to do it. So that's the I guess the beauty of it. The tire barriers, that's something that have been around in racing for years and years and years, and you only see it now on street courses. You really don't even see it on the road courses. It's and it does so much less damage because it's like a big bumper. You know, it's like you're a pinball. A big bumper,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it makes it a little easier.
Rubber.
And then it was great because the first time the tires were hit, the amount of water that went flying up in the air, because these things are obviously getting filled up from sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, now that's pretty cool. That's a cool effect. If you could do that every time somebody hits.
You enjoyed the bumper car action.
I mean, that's really what you had to look at going into this race was it's going to be an oddity. Let's see what happens. I know some people were upset that an outlier came in and won the race. I thought it was perfection, really, for the guy to come in from another racing series and just be like, I'll show you how to do it. Because it wasn't even close. And they were showing him, and he was doing the old school thing where the NASCAR drivers with these new cars, you don't even have to use the clutch when you shift. This guy was still using both feet, heel toeing it, moving both feet around like he was dancing. And man, he flew past everybody. I mean, I think he was like 18th when the last restart was in the race, and he just drove past everybody because he was that good.
I think there's certainly an ease that comes with not having the clutch, but the clutch does more than just simply allow you to change gear. It actually lets you change the engine revs without changing speed.
Yeah, which can make it easier for the car to handle.
Can make it, well, you can place more, you can get, if you know what you're doing, right, you can put more power into the car than you should be able to at any given time. So you can use the clutch to, not pressing it all the way down, but just slightly ease into the clutch, rev the engine, drop the clutch, and give the car a boost out of a turn that you would be unable to do if you were running an automatic transmission.
Right. And I think there's a big bit of just like timing.
Actual work. Yeah. I say this to somebody, I haven't driven a car with a manual transmission. Well, actually, I did have one about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. When I moved to Austin, I had a car with manual transmission, but that was as Adam can call it, my joke car. I had a Fiat 500 convertible, and that was a manual transmission.
And you never ran that into a tire barrier?
Amazingly, no. I don't know if I ever ran it faster than 65 miles an hour.
Oh, it was one of those was a little scary to get it up higher?
No, it just had a 1-liter engine.
Oh. So it just looked good.
But most people would disagree with that statement.
Is that why you got rid of it?
I just thought it was cute as hell. I really thought it was a very cute little car. I remember seeing those in Italy when I was a kid, and it was a nostalgia purchase.
As most cars are for most people, Gene.
Are they?
No.
That one was. But then a few years later, I got a similar looking car, which was the 500E, which was the full electric Fiat, which was a same body style, but no engine, motor.
And a lot of people are confused that we're doing this show today. It's like Larry's traveling, so there is no
do this show
Planet
today. What are they
Rage.
confused about?
You're like, wait, it's Monday morning. We always don't know.
No,
Don't confuse people.
Your memory serves you wrong.
It's the Mandela effect.
Uh-huh.
It is definitely the Mandela effect. But this is the negative part
Next
about
thing, people are gonna start saying we don't do 2 shows a week.
Right. Like they're like, of course we
Since
do.
when? We always do 2 shows a week.
I mean, it's hard to just even get everything in.
And yet we still barely get donations.
I know. It's one of those things. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
Well, maybe the second Monday works better.
I think having the set time is a big detriment for podcasters. Having that, we got to do it at this time on this day.
Absolutely. I agree.
Like to be a little more fluid.
Mm-hmm.
A little more like, hey, when the mood hits you, do it.
Yeah, that's why I haven't done Surgeon Speaks in 3 months.
Well, see, the mood has not hit you.
No, it will at some point. And that's why I'm still paying for the hosting.
Well, you got to, because you got to keep the old shows up there.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
I mean, podcasting is one of those interesting things. I was thinking about this the other day because most people treat, and there are outliers that will go back and try to catch up from the beginning. But for most people, a podcast is like talk radio, meaning if the show's more than like 2 days old, they're like, why would I listen to that?
Yeah.
But for other things, if you start writing and you start pumping out fiction books, well, you could be like 10 books in. And it's okay, because if somebody discovers you're writing 10 books in, they're going to be like, oh, what else has this guy done? And they're probably going to go back and read the other books.
Well, and ironically, this podcast, you can go back to any point in time because there's not really any topics and it's not really timely.
There are no topics. We will never mention anything going on in the world at all.
Well, if we do, it could be still going on 6 months later or a year later or 5 years later.
You mean like the Ukrainian debacle?
Yeah, wasn't that funny how that whole thing just got wrapped up in a nice bow and people forgot about it already?
Nobody talks about it. Seems still like it's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the...
I found that video I was talking about. It's called Pitch Meeting.
She-Hulk.
Yeah, well, that's one of them. I just sent you a sample. But so he does these pitch meetings, which is like pitching movies that are out in theaters. There's probably 1,000 of these now that he's done. And it's a comedic view of how that movie was pitched to the studio, really highlighting all the deficiencies, of course.
Well, of course, when you pitch it, you don't mention the bad stuff. That's why this is comedy.
But it's comedy because the bad stuff is brought up as pluses.
Oh.
As benefits, right?
So it's like, hey, we do not talk about anything on this show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's a selling point.
That is a selling point. Yeah.
But I have to ask you, we didn't talk about the, I don't even know what you want to call it. The Russian rebellion. What happened with,
nothing.
Right? But it's the story that's being told is like, oh my God, this is signaling the end of Putin's power.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
His top oligarchs are turning against him.
So Prigozhin's been bitching about not getting money in a timely fashion for months.
Oh, is this about them getting your pay?
Yeah. Like for a long time, he's been bitching about this. And well, you could say, well, he's looked out for his men. He's mostly looking out for his own wallet. And I think that finally he was bitching enough, loudly enough, that MI6 said, hey, we've got $1 billion that is earmarked for somebody else in Ukraine on the other side of the conflict from you guys. But if you were to say, I don't know, decide to make a big show of switching sides, maybe you could have that $1 billion.
This was
and
a little pay for play?
I say billion because I heard the number billion brought up a lot. And so I don't think that's just random number. I think there was an actual offer for $1 billion for him to flip. He's a mercenary. Of course he's going to do that. And
wait, mercenaries do things for money since when?
I know, right?
Uh-huh.
And my understanding is that
so he took the money and went, no thanks.
Well, no, he didn't get around, but that there was conversations with Russia, and basically they said, look, here's the deal. This is not making us look particularly good. So you're done. You are not going to be working for us anymore. However, we'll let you leave Russia and never come back and keep your life. And so essentially that's what happened. So he's in Belarus now,
which is still a country that is happy to be helping.
Well, yeah, they speak Russian.
Right. They're on Vlad's side.
Yeah. They've got their own dictator out there.
So the Prigozhin guy shouldn't be looking over his shoulder. This was all just
I've heard a lot of people say that he probably has less than a year left. He'll have a cancer or something, something natural that happens to him within a year.
He will have accident.
Yeah, major accident. Exactly. But yeah, it seemed like it was definitely one of these things that depending on which side you're on, you can say, well, we were playing 4D chess. Yes, but we were playing 5D chess. No, but we were playing 6D chess. Yeah, everyone's going to pretend like they were doing all of this on purpose and that the end result was exactly what they expected and what they wanted. I think realistically, Prigozhin just kind of got fed up with what's happening. There was, his mercenaries are made up predominantly of prisoners from prison. And
where they're usually coming from, yes.
Well, sometimes the gulag, but that's not really a thing these days. So they're essentially conditionally released prisoners, and they're not particularly liked by the regular army, as you can imagine, because you can't trust people that have ended up in prison. And so there was some disdain for them from the regular army. And, one of the things you got to do as a mercenary is you got to have good PR, good marketing. So you got to really kind of inflate all your victories and minimize all your defeats to make yourself look good.
Well, yeah, if you want to get the big bucks.
Because you're constantly selling yourself as a mercenary, unlike the regular army, which could do stupid shit and then,
So why didn't these mercenaries just turn to Ukraine and be like, hey, how much? Or don't they?
Well, first of all, the mercenaries are still Russian. They don't, You'll
do a lot for money, but you won't do that.
Well, that's a good song, but that
was Meatloaf. I'll do anything for love.
Yes.
I got to do
the guy who wore pants that are entirely too tight.
I'll do anything
and made his voice like that.
Love. Got to get the
I think the best Meatloaf is in Rocky Horror.
I mean, I thought the best Meatloaf was at a little Amish place in Sarasota, but I mean, I guess to each his own.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just like the trannies or something.
when you go to an Amish restaurant? What?
I was thinking Rocky Horror Picture Show, but sure.
Right.
Amish restaurants, why not?
I think I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show once and was like,
you're kidding.
Like,
You've
what?
only seen it once?
Yeah, I've never seen Idiocracy. There's a list of things.
Jesus Christ. Well, Rocky Horror Picture Show is not something you watch on video. It's something that you experience in a theater full of crazy people.
Yeah. That are usually drunk or high.
Not even.
just crazy.
Not really necessary. I saw it when I originally came out in a little art theater and thought, this is crazy. How does this movie even get made? Who put the money up for this? And then watched as it turned into this like weekly Rocky Horror Picture Show performance thing where people watch the movie so many times that they learn the lyrics.
Yeah, that was like me with the Blues Brothers when I was 10.
Would you want to see that movie over and over?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then when it came out on video, woo, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, and you said, someday I'll move to Chicago.
No, I was like,
I didn't quite made it.
I've seen enough.
No, that's it. Someday you'll move to Joliet.
Yeah. They finally closed that place down.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Joliet's still not a great place, but, it's probably better than Chirac right now.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's just down the road here. I mean, I can be in Joliet in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Cool. We should do a remote.
From Joliet Prison?
Yeah, from Joliet. Yeah, exactly.
I know they do events there. Like once a year, there is like a blues fest or something there. So you can do stuff at the prison.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
Gene's like, can I stay there though? Do you have any of the rooms left that I can
convert a prison to a hotel? That'd be hilarious.
That would be awesome. I mean, who was shivved in this room? Come on.
I know, right? And then people are paying $200 a night to stay there.
Right. For the crappiest bug-infested mattresses. And then you could have like the cafeteria where you can get really crappy food. You could trade cigarettes.
You can't have bug-infested. That's not going to pass the health code.
True. You just have to have like fake bugs.
It can look bad, but it can't actually be bad.
Ah, this is the secret right there.
That's what, all hotels are like that.
To selling to sell the experience, though. Gene's exactly. Like, you could come out to Gene's Gulag for only $2,000 a night. We will give you authentic Gulag experience.
Authentic Gulag experience, yes. Where you're going to be shoveling snow for 8 hours a day.
But you get a free poncho with the Searching logo on it.
And they're still for sale on Amazon. Get your ponchos before I'm completely broke.
Get them while they're not very hot.
Exactly. Hey, people just don't realize they need them.
I mean, I've got them, but I've never used them.
Yeah, you do. No, but the point is you should have it in your car glove box. Everybody should have one in the car. Probably a couple of them in the
at least a couple in each car, just in case.
And if you're a hunter or a nature walker type, you should definitely have one in your backpack.
Yeah, you do not want to get accidentally shot.
Well, shot, yes. But I mean, in case, it gets colder than what you're dressed for and you need that additional layer of warmth.
And
you need a reflective surface to have people go, what the hell is that thing reflecting over there? Oh, maybe it's a person that broke their leg.
Maybe we should shoot first and ask questions later.
It's usually how hunting goes.
Uh-huh. Well, if you're with Dick Cheney.
Deer?
Right.
Was that a deer?
Coming right at us.
Looked like a deer.
Uh-huh.
Did you watch that video of the deer? I think I posted it on Nugent Social of a guy hunting deer with a camera. A lot of people use GoPros in their guns now. And he sees this doe and it's clearly like a year old. And this doe starts walking up to him, comes up, smells the gun, and then comes up to the dude and he's petting it. It's like, what's it trying to do? Just ruin the whole hunting experience for the guy?
Yes. It's like, we're nice. We're furry little sweet creatures. Come on.
It's like, oh, look, I'm a cute doe. I'm just my name's Bambi, by the way. I'm just going to walk over here. Hey, what is that? What is that big black stick? What does that smell like? Smells like death. What is that?
Smells like death, just like the show. Bring it on.
Oh,
Hey.
oh.
How you doing, everybody?
Yeah. So let's see what else is going on. I don't know. Not too much else. Been playing some Elite Dangerous lately.
What is that?
A video game.
Well, I figured that, but more
it's
specifically,
a spaceship video game.
Oh, well, for you, that's a very big stretch.
That's a stretch. I know, right?
The spaceship video game. Should have guessed.
Uh-huh.
The over-under is always spaceship video game.
Pretty good for the over-under. Yeah, it's been fun. I used to play it years ago, and then I had a couple of friends that, well, I say friends, but, acquaintances that have gotten back into it. And so I kind of thought, it'd be fun to get back into that and take a little break from Star Citizen.
From the game that's in alpha that has taken all your money.
The game this one's been released for 10 years already.
Now, were they smart and have a bunch of extra purchases in that one as well?
No. They only sell paint for your spaceships, so you can customize the way it looks, but they don't sell the spaceship.
It's special spaceship paint.
Well, there's a lot of different colors and things, and a lot of different styles and graphics. Like I've got spaceships with a snake painted on them.
If you don't get the right paint, does it chip off? What happens?
It does chip off, but no, it's not a matter of right paint. That is actually a very cool feature in this game that I wish more games had. Is that the paint deteriorates over time, so your ship looks more worn.
So you have to repaint it.
You do need to repaint it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing they sell. So I'm guessing it looks good for like a day.
No. And once you buy it, you own it forever. You don't need to pay more to repaint your ship.
Oh, so you own the paint and you can keep reapplying it.
Yeah, exactly. But I love the look of a weathered spaceship. If you look at the SpaceX rockets, they fly them multiple times. They don't repaint them every time they fly it. And so you can tell right away when they're using a previously used stage 1 or stage 2. Yeah. So it's neat to be able to see that kind of weathering effect.
You're like, hey, that's rocket 146. Wow, good. We'll see it going up again.
Mm-hmm.
Until it explodes.
Well, hopefully not. By the way, did you see this? Well, you don't watch SpaceX launches, but they recently launched a satellite for ESA, which is going to be, and it's an infrared telescope. I forget what the acronym for the satellite was, but it's an infrared telescope from ESA, which is the European Space Agency. And it was launched on SpaceX, which is crazy because Musk is killing it. Not only did he convince, now, I don't know if you've heard this because you're not an electric car guy, but all the competing plugs are going away in the U.S. Right. Every manufacturer is standardizing on the Tesla plug.
I did see that, which is genius for, again, Elon.
Yep. Again, for Elon, exactly. He's basically the main provider of spaceships for everybody now. Only countries like China and Russia use their own spaceships, but pretty much all the other countries put payloads on Musk's spaceships.
Yeah, he's making a little bit of money.
He is making some money, exactly. And it looks like the progress is coming along nicely on the next update, I guess, to the rocket launch that I want to see down in South Padre.
So another one will be going up soon?
So, yeah, the next revision of Starship should be ready probably within, well, as early as maybe a month, but I'm thinking more like a couple of months.
But here's what I want to know.
Certainly in the summer.
Especially with a infrared telescope.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing more and more from both the European states and the United States, like, oh, we're going to have to do something to block out the sun for global warming.
Right.
We're going to have to release shit in the atmosphere
Yeah.
To intentionally try to fuck with the natural nature of things.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this okay when everything else that man does is bad for the environment? Who the fuck think this is a good idea?
Well, that's because you're talking to science, and science knows all.
Uh-huh. Who thinks this is a good idea that we're going to intentionally now try to mess with the climate?
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad that man is having any effect on the climate whatsoever that our answer is to go have a huge impact on the climate.
That sounds about right. Yep. Yep.
Cotton Gin says nobody with a brain thinks this is a good idea. I would agree.
Cows farting is the problem. And the solution, obviously, is to block out the sun.
Right. Yeah, we have too many cows that are farting methane into the air, so blocking out the sun. Perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Let's get that written up and done.
Uh-huh.
It's like this is also why we went from, global warming to climate change, because it's not all warming.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, it's actually amazingly, it's cooling for about 4 months a year, and it's warming for 4 months a year. And then the other 8 months, it's kind of more or less the same.
But we want to intentionally try to cool it now.
Wait, that's too many months.
Well, nobody was paying attention to that.
Okay.
She's like, well, yeah, we do this for 4 months, this for 4 months, this for 8 months.
16-month. Wait, did I just disclose where I'm from? Shit.
Yeah, we just did a whole different calendar seasons. Now. Uh-huh. Whatever it's like on your planet, I don't know. But it's probably it explains the beard, that's for sure.
Well, you think that's a beard.
Right.
That's just my chin.
Uh-huh. It's a whole weird race of folk, let me tell you. And there are a lot of them are in Texas for some reason. I don't know why.
There are. Uh-huh.
Keep Austin weird, and you certainly are. You're helping. You're helping with that.
Yeah. And then, by the way, that movie, Men in Black, that's totally fiction.
Right. Nobody has a little pen that they can just wave in front of your face and make you forget everything.
Nope. Does not exist.
Wouldn't that be the greatest thing to have?
What?
What were we talking about? What? How you doing, everybody?
Yeah. Are we going to start? You ready?
Blocking out the sun. Yes. What a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I mean, what do we need a sun for anyway? It's just extraneous.
And it's like, how are you going to hang? You're like trying to hang a big umbrella up in the atmosphere or something to block out the sun's rays.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, whatever you put into the atmosphere, it's going to fall back down to Earth unless it's up so high that it's then going to just float up into the ether. So I don't understand how this is any kind of a good idea at all, and why all of a sudden there's multiple large factions, governments that are like, yeah, this is good.
Well, I think we've been doing cloud seeding for many years. They do it in China. They do it in the U.S. They've been doing it for a long time. They do it in Russia. A lot of places they do cloud seeding.
But that's not what they're talking about here, because the cloud seeding is trying to encourage moisture to fall, right?
Or to create clouds to block out the sun, sure.
I guess. But it seems like...
Well, that's the best way to block out the sun.
Is it? Is that what they really want to do? Why don't you just build a big dome?
Want to do?
You want to build a big dome over the cities. That'd be great.
Well, that could be cool. I mean, I always thought that, like, if you look at, what was that movie called? Jim Carrey movie where he was being watched by cameras.
Oh, The Truman Show?
Yeah, I always thought that was really cool because you can control the weather.
Right. Well, right, because you're living on a set.
Yeah, you're in a big dome. Mm-hmm.
So if everybody would just live in a dome, then we wouldn't have to worry what's going on outside of the dome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Adam always says there's the rockets are bouncing off the firmament.
It's the government, man. I mean, I looked because for everything else, Commonwealth
there is
Edison.
No space. It's just a colored painting.
Sure. That's all it is.
Painting.
The electric provider here will give rebates and stuff for all sorts of things. I mean, I've made the comments multiple times about things like air purifiers because, well, okay, Costco's got a $79 air purifier. Ooh. The ComEd will give you $50 off if you buy it, and the replacement filters are $50. So I can tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going Yeah, why ever buy a filter? Just keep throwing out the unit.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
It's cheaper. Yeah. And I also don't understand why you give rebates on things that are just there to then use more electricity. Because if I don't have any pure air purifiers in my home,
you don't understand that. Let me explain that. Because when you use electricity, you pay for the rebate.
Yeah, that's this is true.
Mm-hmm.
But they no longer, as of July 1st. So I don't know how big my miss was here. They don't do rebates on condenser air conditioners. They're only doing them now on heat pumps.
Oh my God. Heat pumps suck.
I know. That's what I said. I'm like, I don't want a fucking heat pump. No, I want my house to be cool.
You're going to be cold in the winter and hot in the summer.
That's the convenience of having the heat pump. It'll help a few degrees in each way, but when you have heat like y'all do in Texas, and we have the same kind of heat in the summer, just for a lot less. And we have the cold in the winter that, like it's going to be very bad. The more they push people into technology, like, oh, for the sake of the planet, it's like, fuck the planet. Nobody's ever actually proven these things are bad in the first place. But no, they want you to just go with heat pumps, so you can't get no rebates on the air conditioner. I'm like, well, what's, this thing, hopefully, and hopefully I last 15 years. But if the air conditioner lasts 15 years, I'm thinking, well, what's going to be available, in 15 years? Will they even allow you to buy new HVAC units? It's going to be like when the incandescent bulbs.
You could buy a fan for your ceiling.
That's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to buy a fan. Congratulations.
Yep.
Welcome to third world.
There's no reason their air conditioners should only last 15 years.
No, they make them because of that. I mean, they want you to buy new ones.
Yeah, but I know Lennox has got a new line of ACs that are supposed to last at least 30.
As well, they should. I mean, the technology is not high tech in any way, shape, or form.
Also, now that you bought one, would you like to know what the markup is on air conditioners?
A decent amount.
Yeah, it's about 300%.
Which I can see, which I know I got a good deal from this guy. So was one of the other reasons why it's like, no, don't want to deal with a normal company. And I knew this guy had a couple of years ago did it for my parents. He put a whole new unit in there, and he's a perfectionist, which is also good. And the guy that he brought along as his helper is the guy that his Monday through Friday job is training. He works for the union, and he trains the people that want to go into HVAC.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, okay, you should know what you're doing then. If you allegedly,
not necessarily, but yeah.
Allegedly that would be the case. You hope they know what they're doing. And so far, so good.
Yeah.
The old one, there was just a little leak. And then you put the goo back in and it worked fine. And then after a couple of months, the leak, obviously it's leaking the whole time through, but finally got to be low enough where the unit started freezing up and thus not cooling.
Right.
Irony. But it's good.
Yeah, well, that was just in the wrong place, I guess.
It'll happen. Well, and a lot of the stuff that was done in this house, because we did not build this house, we bought it. And we've run into weird things that were most likely DIY projects from the previous homeowners. Like when our kitchen sink, which we had that big ordeal on that last year around the holidays. The plumbers that came out went downstairs in the basement and they looked and they're like, you almost have zero pitch on this line. It kind of goes down from the kitchen and then it goes from the back of the house to the sewer, which is in the front of the house. So that line from the kitchen sink runs the whole length of the house, and it's barely a 1% grade. I mean, he's like, you really need to flush that out if you put anything down the sink, because otherwise it's going to harden in the middle of that big long line. It's not fun. But again, people that don't do the job right.
That doesn't sound like a do it yourself project, though. That sounds like a builder issue.
I don't know. It all depends.
You think they put their own damn line in going from the
It looks like it's
The
possible,
kitchen?
although I don't understand how it wouldn't have been there in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's got to be the builder.
you never know. You never know. It's a weird world.
I guess. What else going on?
Well, now it's cool in here, so that's good.
Yeah, you like it cool. I know that.
Everybody loves the Monday morning unrelenting show.
Yeah, it's a great show.
It's a great way to get your week going.
That's right.
Oh, my Apple Watch. You're off to a
just
great start, it says.
We found that Mondays work the best for us, so
Could be. I should just put all my podcasts in one day, and that way I would have the...
I mean, I'm shocked you didn't, because frankly, the people that do multiple podcasts usually do it that way.
Do them all in one day.
Because then they have the rest of the week off.
Yeah, and then it's like you're not even working.
Well, or doing your other things, yes.
We'll work out the schedule. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, but the first guy to make $1 million on podcasting, that's what he was doing.
Well, he was the one that was totally front-loading everything.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad idea
if
you can get away with it. And that was when podcasting, you would see, we do something totally different because most of the shows are broadcast/streamed live.
Yeah.
Although we can lie about that as well. I mean, it's just a lot harder to then make snide comments to the people in the troll room if you're recording it like a week and 3 weeks, 5 weeks earlier.
I mean, we can kind of, I think most people are not in the troll room.
That's true.
And most people are just assuming there is such a thing, that we're not lying about it.
Right. It's like, this is true. How do you know? It might not even be real.
Don't. IRC. Who the hell uses IRC? This is clearly a made up bullshit thing.
Yeah, they're talking about technology that's like 40 years
like
old.
When they were young, they were using IRC. Maybe nobody uses it today. That's like saying, "Oh, I went on Gopher and I grabbed some video files."
Right.
Like,
Can you still do that?
I'm sure you did, buddy.
Yeah, go on to Gopher, buddy. That was long before. I mean, before the fact that we remember the first browser is sad. You're like, what's this World Wide Web
it's
part?
Better
of
than
the
that. A buddy of mine actually was one of the developers that wrote Gopher.
Damn.
Yeah.
Why was it called Gopher? Was it just because of this college?
Because the mascot of the University of Minnesota are Gophers.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Looks like that's just how they chose it. And you're going out and getting information, so I guess it makes sense too.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're gophering.
You're gophering it, right? Definitely.
Exactly. But yeah, it was basically a professor that was unhappy with the fact that he had to have a bunch of stuff printed on paper to distribute at meetings for his department. And he thought, this is ridiculous, this bureaucratic bullshit, part of the job. I'm just going to just give people access to these files that they can grab, and they're too stupid to do command line FTP. So let's make them something that's a little more graphic-y. And recruited a couple of grad students to help on that project. That was how Gopher started.
The way the internet grew out of nothing.
Yeah.
Into the cesspool that it is today.
Yeah. Gopher predated World Wide Web.
I mean, and also we remember the time where video on the internet was not really a thing.
No, yeah, it definitely was not a thing.
When it started out, it was like 320 by 320 boxes at like one frame per...
It was 120 by 160.
Oh, that's even worse. Like 1 frame per second.
And not at like 256 colors.
Yeah.
It was all dithered.
It was not good for people that wanted to watch baseball.
It's not good for people.
It wasn't good for anything. The fact that they can do this now with the streaming video in high def and more is crazy.
To me, the part that's the most amazing is getting hundreds of megabytes per second speed on a portable device that is like a 1/4 inch thick and fits in your pocket.
Yes.
How? That's the crazy part to me, is just the advancement in wireless technology is just, I don't know. Everything else just doesn't seem quite as impressive to me as that.
There is an important medical question in the troll room. We do not give medical advice, but says, dude, totally rearranging my office and found a prescription bottle with an Adderall in it. It's more than a year old. Wonder if it's still good. Yeah. I mean, drugs don't go bad.
What was it should have an expiration date if it's more than a year old. Check the expiration date.
It doesn't go bad. It would lose effectiveness, possibly.
Correct. That's correct. That's exactly what happens. Unless it's been warm. If you warm up most drugs, they lose efficacy very quickly. But if it's been sitting at room temperature in an air-conditioned place, then it's probably just fine. So let's say, worst case scenario, let's say a year ago was the expiration date. So when it was prescribed, it was already at its last leg, which would never happen. Like, they would never give you from a pharmacy stuff that's on its last leg.
He said it was literally right next to the AC vent, which in the summer is great.
Yeah, then that's fine.
As long as
it's in the winter too, it's going to be cool coming from there.
As long as that isn't also the heat vent.
Well, okay, fair enough. If it's the heat vent, then you might have a problem. But yeah, usually that's the worst thing that'll happen. Is just it'll be less potent.
He'll be like, dude, why aren't I getting nothing out of this?
Yeah, but it's not a good thing though. I don't recommend people take Adderall.
Well, it will change your personality.
Well, what it'll do is it'll make you realize that you feel much better when you take it.
And then it gets you addicted because you like that feeling.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about the physical addiction. I'm talking about the mental addiction. Like when you kind of like cocaine. So
you always come back to cocaine. I'm wondering now about all these stories that were allegedly out of Costa Rica and the Dominican.
Ixnay on the story.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's undeniable that cocaine works. I'm not going to say it's good. I will say it works. But it's also undeniable that fat dudes die when they do coke.
Okay, yes.
So this fat dude ain't doing coke.
Because your heart's like, nope.
Coke has been responsible for death of comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
John Belushi.
Yeah.
Dana,
the
other guy?
Oh, wow. The other big guy. You know,
the other big guy.
In a van down by the river.
All of them. No, what are they? What are they? Let's list off the guys that died from coke.
Comedians that have died from cocaine.
Yeah. It's they're generally overweight.
Well, Belushi, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the other guy.
Well, you should know them.
Why?
It's what's his name? The Bears.
Right, the Bears.
What was the guy's name?
The big guy.
Big guy.
Who was on SNL.
Yeah, they're all on SNL.
This is true. If you're gonna be on SNL,
if your odds of dying if you're on SNL are much higher. It was what the hell was his name?
I know. I can't. I'm
Chris
blanking.
Farley also.
Farley. Well, that was his name, right?
Yeah. Farley died from that.
He was the down by the river guy.
But also the other guy.
But the
other fat dude.
There's a lot of
John
Candy,
fat dude, died from cocaine. Like you list off a fat comedian, he died from cocaine. That's
not Sam Kinison. He went head on into another car
while on cocaine.
Maybe,
yes,
maybe.
Correct.
I thought he was sober by the time he died, but
he was sober. He was just
on
cocaine, very coked up.
That's a different story. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a dangerous thing. It works, but it's dangerous.
I miss Sam Kinison. He was a genius.
I miss cocaine.
There's a T-shirt in there.
There's a T-shirt. Which one? Sam Kinison one?
I know. I think I miss cocaine with then the grumpy old Benz, or no, I'm sorry, the unrelenting logo on it. Just unrelenting.
You can do a grumpy old Benz one with that too. That's fine.
True. I mean, we could. It seems like something that could go across shows. Yes, it's a universal sentiment. Are you doing any cocaine tomorrow on the 4th of July or blowing stuff up?
Blowing stuff up. I am not blowing stuff up. 4th of July is tomorrow.
Yes. That would make today the 3rd of July
I
for those
wonder
listening.
if I'm going to have garbage service tomorrow then, because I know I'm going to have it on Tuesday.
Not on the 4th. They're going to be like, nope.
You don't think they're going to work on the 4th?
Nope.
Not even Mexicans?
Nope. Wow.
What?
Wow. I was very...
my garbage service here is not run by Americans.
I was very surprised.
It's run by the cartels.
Well, then maybe they'll show up.
That's why I'm wondering.
I was very surprised that the wife was working today, being that she now works for the village. I guess, they figured 3rd of July's no holiday.
Why do you keep calling it the village? That sounds very weird.
It's the village. It's not a city. It's a village of Mokina.
Uh-huh. But does that mean that
when you go down where she works, it's Village Hall?
Oh, instead of City Hall?
No, it's Village Hall. It's a village.
What the hell's the legal distinction?
I don't know.
What do you get by being a city instead of a village that you don't get as a village?
I don't know.
I mean, you're incorporated, I assume.
Yeah. But we're a village.
Not an unincorporated village.
Village. It varies by a geographic area and legal jurisdiction. Just for the administrative division at the local government level.
Who said that?
This is Wikipedia, I'm guessing.
Oh. So it's probably the history of Illinois being part of the Louisiana Purchase. And it's really a village and not a village.
Village. That's what I always say.
Village.
What's going on? I do it with the Russian. I do it with the Russian accent. The wife will come home and be like, "Yeah, what's going on at Village?"
Oh my God,
Village. Everything good at Village.
There's a Russian travel video chick that I've posted some videos of in No Social, who's a redhead, which is unusual, and. I like travel shows in general, so always interesting to watch hers. So she was in Australia for a while now, for a couple of months, doing videos from there. But in one of the videos from Australia, it was hilarious because she was talking about her impressions as a Russian person of Australia. And she switches from her normal, slightly accented English to the stereotypical American movie Hollywood Russian accent.
Nice.
So she's actually pretending to be like a Russian person in the way that people are used to hearing Russian accents from Hollywood movies.
Yeah,
I thought it was fucking hilarious. I just about spit, iced tea out of my mouth when I saw that because it is so ridiculous, but it's true. It's that the actual Russian accent that people that are Russian that learn English have is completely different from the fake Russian accent that people who don't speak Russian but are pretending to play Russian characters in movies speak. Those are two different accents.
Oh, of course.
Having her switch from one to the other was pretty damn funny.
It's a part of the world you live in.
Yeah, it's like the Boris and Natasha accent from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Which everybody goes back to as well, because everybody's well familiar with that if you grew up in a certain time.
I think we're dying off. Of the people that are familiar with Rocky and Bullwinkle, I think we're a dying breed.
So yeah, village, town, city, there's all sorts of different things. And I don't think there's a really good answer on what the difference is between, besides just this is what it was called.
I keep waiting for Austin to be unincorporated.
Just try to get away from all the big government?
No, the big government doesn't like what Austin's doing, and the state has more than once threatened to take away Austin's city charter and turn it into a territory of the state. So effectively, it would become just like Washington, D.C.
Oh, interesting.
It would lose a mayor and city council. Fine. It would be an administrative zone of the state of Texas. I think that'd be awesome if that happened. I would think it's hilarious. It would drive all these completely wacky California programs that we have in place out of here.
Which would be good.
Because the state government is very conservative, but the city government is a little left of California.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like it's true for everybody that seems to do a podcast with you.
that you have to live in some kind of commie area.
Yeah.
Larry got out, man. We got to give it to him.
That's true. He didn't move out. Well, where did he move to? Wait a minute. Hold on. Maybe he moved to another one.
He is not settled quite yet, but they're gone.
So he's a gypsy. He's now a gypsy.
Kind of. I know there were a couple places he was hitting in the interim. He's making a nice, slow family vacation out of this, hitting some spots on the way towards the East Coast, but it's going to be somewhere towards the East Coast for a while.
Well, East Coast isn't really not California either.
Towards the East Coast. Right. I said towards the East Coast.
Oh, okay. So Florida?
I don't think that far south. I think that's a little, for white Irish guys like us, it's a little too hot in Florida in the summer. As much as we like the freedom, I don't know. I couldn't stand Florida and when the heat was, I mean, I don't like the heat Florida. Here.
That's a different heat.
It's the kind of, you'll go outside and melt.
Standing on the beach in Florida and 77 degrees and it's February feels pretty fucking nice.
Oh yeah. Now when it's 116 in August.
But here's the thing. Yeah. If you're near the water, it's never 116.
Well, if you live on a boat,
cools off everything. You don't even have to live in a boat. You have to be within like a block of the water. Not even on the water itself, which is obviously better because it's a better view.
And then you get the alligators.
Within about a block. What's wrong with alligators?
Nothing. If you want to die.
No, they make good pets. If I lived on the boat, I would totally have an alligator.
You're the Don Johnson. Gotta have Elvis.
That's right. Yeah.
You going out to Elvis? You going out to your local big 4th of July parade tomorrow?
No.
The wife's like, "Oh, do you want to go on the Village float?" I'm like, fuck no.
No.
It's gonna be 92 degrees. No, I don't want to be outside.
Yeah, it's just not that interesting. I've had a client I've had a fireworks company as a client. So I got to watch their tests of fireworks. Way more interesting when you're sitting 25, 30 feet away.
You don't want to be closer than that?
That's about as close as you want to get.
It's a little scary when you get closer.
Well, it's a little loud too.
Yeah.
But I've done that. Just watching nonstop fireworks going off right next to me for like an hour. I've flown in an airplane through fireworks.
Wait, now that doesn't sound safe.
I think that's the best view of fireworks, like from being right there, right next to them. So as far as watching fireworks from the ground with a bunch of other sweaty people, just not interested anymore.
No, I've never really been all that interested in. I don't understand the fireworks concept.
Oh, I can explain that.
People like to go, ooh, it's loud and colorful.
Yeah. It's a simulation of war.
And this is entertaining to bring your kids to.
Yeah, because you need to have your kids understand, if you don't want them to be soy boys, you need them to understand that it takes risk and courage to keep the country great. And if that doesn't happen, then everything goes to shit.
Now, how were you in an airplane going through fireworks? That wouldn't seem to be recommended.
Well, I wasn't, I guess, in the firework explosion. I was next to the firework explosion.
Okay, so you were far enough to the side or above.
Yeah. But I'm watching fireworks around me. I'm not like flying through the firework explosion, I guess, but I'm flying right next to it.
Sounds dangerous.
Nah, it's totally safe.
Get a little hang glider, go out there.
Well, pretty sure it was like a 737.
Oh, well, that's a little bigger. I thought you were in a Cessna, just circling around the firework.
No. It's a real plane.
Well, the real plane wasn't like lingering while the fireworks went off so you could enjoy them.
Well, the real plane was landing, so it was moving really slow, and which is also why it was at the height of the fireworks, because they're not that high. But it went right through the fireworks, so it was perfect timing. Couldn't have timed it better.
I mean, I didn't realize they would do this on an air pattern. Like the plane's coming right in. Nope.
I'm sure that there was somebody probably did the math and decided it was fine.
Yeah, well, as long as you're not in the plane, it's fine.
Yeah.
What's the
but
worst
also
that
keep
can
in
happen?
mind that, the plane's got to land, and if the wind changes, then the plane's got to change its path a little bit.
This would make sense.
And fireworks be damned.
I have enjoyed a few videos on YouTube of planes landing in massive wind.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like, damn, you're earning your money as a pilot on those days.
Yes. When it's coming in at like a 15-degree angle, and it only straightens out when it hits the runway.
It's like, how do you do that and not just roll the thing?
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, I know the computers are there for a lot. You're not doing that. I don't think. I don't. That's all hand flying.
Yeah. It is pretty cool. But also keep in mind this: when you're flying into a strong headwind, your ground speed is slower to have the same amount of lift.
So it looks a lot more impressive because you're kind of floating.
It's still impressive. I don't want to take away from the impressiveness factor, but the plane is actually moving slower relative to the ground when it's landing in a strong headwind like that.
That would make sense. Physics and all.
Yeah, right. So let's say that your landing speed is 130 knots. Well, if you got a 30 knot wind coming at you, then really relative to the ground, you're landing at about 100 knots.
That adds up.
So, yeah, it's all that shit you gotta use a computer or your brain, one or the other, to calculate.
For most people, I would recommend the computer.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think if you're flying a small plane, you're literally feeling what's happening to the wings. Like you're feeling the through the yoke. You're feeling what the plane's doing.
I was just watching here. There was just a video of Shania Twain wiping out on stage.
Ooh, she's like 60 now, isn't she?
Yeah, got to be.
Mm-hmm.
She's older than us, and I mean that's old. 57.
Know, right?
It says 57.
That's pretty much 60. Yep.
That's 57's the new 60. She wears much lower cut tops though than you and I do. That just seems.
I would hope so.
Seems to be.
So she was married to a producer, right?
Mutt Lang.
Mm-hmm.
The good old Mutt.
Yeah.
He was big with a lot of those hair bands.
I'm going to send you a video to watch.
Another one?
And then comment on.
Like during the show?
A friend of... No, not during the show. After the show. This is a video a friend of mine did that talks about the problem with video game companies. But the first part of the video talks about the history of music and the problem with music. And he is a professional commercial musician who plays video games. And so he's really fucking good. I should have taken advantage when I had the opportunity to have him like do some theme music for me.
Well, yeah, some professional theme music is good.
Yeah, because he's just very talented. He's a really good artist too, which just pisses me off when I meet people that are multi-talented in creative things.
Everything that you've tried, and you're like, well, you're better, and you're not even trying.
Well, it's not that I'm not good. It's just really hard work for me. You know what I mean? Like, I can draw reasonably well, but it'll take me a long time, and I'll redo it a bunch of times before it looks good.
As opposed to somebody who just grabs a piece of paper and a pencil and is like...
Exactly. You know, I got into painting years ago, and I got to a point where I was having a lot of fun with that, and it was... I think it looked decent, decent enough.
What were your subject matter? What were you doing?
I was basically, I did a few of them. I did some portraits. Then I'm pretty sure people have seen my self-portrait on No Agenda Social as well. that I painted of myself. But
which would be a self-portrait?
It was.
What was your medium of choice?
Acrylic.
Ooh.
It's either oil or acrylic, and the oil is stinky and hard to work with.
So you went with the easier choice.
What?
You went with the easier choice.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think acrylic is way easier and easier cleanup. That's another big part of it.
Well, not if you have a intern.
Yes. Yeah. Well, interns are hard to find the good ones. That's the whole thing with interns. You got to hire 5 to have 1.
That makes sense.
So I've had good luck with interns, but I've also had plenty of bad luck with interns. I've had I'm actually my last company that I ran, the supplement company. I had really good luck with my low level hires. Like the people that I hired that were not senior folks are not only still working there, but did a great job, got promotions, really good workers.
Well, that's the way it should be, because they should want to come in and learn, not, oh boy, I know I got out of college, so I know what I'm doing. I'm going to tell you how I'm going to do the job.
Yeah, but what I mean is that the odds are stacked against you. So I'm patting myself in the back for picking the good ones, because most typical hires are not going to be very good.
I could see that.
So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm probably not going to be hiring anybody anytime soon here, but maybe by the end of the year, I'll have a need for some folks.
Be ramping up, getting some
very
more
slowly,
getting some more
slowly.
Ponchos made.
Yeah, exactly. Get
more books,
ponchos made.
more ponchos. What else?
Mainly working with air conditioning companies right now.
Really? How so?
Mm-hmm. But
working with
that's who I'm client. That's who my clients are.
Really? Air conditioning company.
Yeah.
You could have got me a good deal on a unit, man.
No.
No. Could have sent me a whole free unit to test for the next 15 years.
Yeah, exactly. Do a tester unit. Yeah.
What I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Something nice and quiet, but with cooling power, man. Got to get the cooling power. I was glad to have the portable unit for last Friday night. Blue Douche is confused on what day it is. He thinks it's Friday now. I mean,
it is.
Well, your week. Hey, did you enjoy your week, everybody?
That's right.
I turned the air
for the weekend.
Right. I turned the air up as hot.
You're not working tomorrow, are you?
No,
I'm not either.
No, the wife's off.
The weekend.
Yeah, it's the weekend.
Yeah,
a lot of celebrating going on.
A lot of celebraties.
I jacked the thing up, like, okay, let's blow this thing down. I just turned the air on as high as, it would run until the guy came out to pull everything off. And when he turned everything off at like 10:30 in the morning or so, it was 66 degrees. And by that night, on the main level, it was 77, which means in the bedroom, it would, if we didn't have the portable unit up there, that would have been a good like 85 degrees.
So do you like your portable unit?
I think it works fairly well. Yes.
Which brand did you end up going with?
It is an LG, I believe.
Okay. LG makes good products. I always like their stuff.
And the one thing I did notice, which I was like, well, maybe I should have brought the dehumidifier up as well. I mean, it cools, but we were also going through, of course, with all the rain and everything, very humid.
Yeah.
That even though it was cooling down to like 68 degrees, the humidity level was still in the 70s. Which is like, that's it feels a lot warmer when the humidity level is up to that. But overall, I would say it does a nice job. As I'm just like, I left it in the window. I mean, it's the portable units are the hoses in the window, not the whole unit. But when days like today and tomorrow and the next day where it's in the 90s, it's like there's no reason not to run that upstairs just to keep the upper level cool, because then we have a it's a split level. So there's technically between the basement, there's technically 4 different level changes in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the lower ones, like where I am now, stay nice and cool, but upstairs gets really hot. So you need something to kind of supplement. Same way in my parents' house, they don't have a basement, but it's the same thing. It's very cold in the lower level, gets very warm upstairs. Like it's a simple solution if you're willing to pay, $500 or whatever one of these air conditioners run. Vent it out the window, and that way you get some cool air right wherever you want it. I'd have one in the office here if it wasn't for the fact that it would make so much noise it would make doing anything else.
Is it loud?
They can be, yeah. When running on full, you figure it's the compressor, everything, and the compressor and fan in one unit. I'm guessing they're going to continue getting quieter and quieter as the technology maybe improves on the smaller ones, but it would not be something that I would want to do a podcast while it was going on in the room, 3 feet away. But otherwise, I thought of it. Put a hole right in the wall here and just vent it right out into the garage. Because that's what like the wall that I can reach from where I'm broadcasting on the other side of it's our garage. I'm like, well, I could just throw the heat into there.
Yeah.
And I think we're going in that way.
I think a lot of the Asian and European air conditioners, I'm sure you've seen them, where you have like the vent.
Yeah, the long
elongated thing up towards the ceiling.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the rest of the units outside. I think those are pretty quiet.
And I think that's more, I don't know if I would say efficient overall, but I would think by being able to adjust every room to be whatever temperature you want rather than one unit that's trying to cool the whole house down.
Yeah.
To me, that makes a lot more sense. Now, granted, there's a lot more places for it to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
But having a unit in every room.
Yeah, I think it's a little cheaper doing that way because you're avoiding putting in central
the ducting
duct work.
Yeah.
There's no ducts anywhere.
If you don't have the ducts already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we do for the heating, but with the heating, it makes a lot more sense because the heat rises. So that's why in the winter, it's not like, wow, it's freezing upstairs. No, then it's you don't have the problem. The ducting is basically made for the heat. And then you add the AC to it, and it's like, well, that's not as efficient for doing that.
I think it's actually, it depends on how your house is built. I think it's actually better for AC here than for heating.
Interesting.
Because all the ducts are in the ceiling.
See, that's not what we've got.
It
but that would make
jack shit for heat.
Yeah, that makes sense because you're coming in high then.
Mm-hmm.
Where the duct
got the cool air that's been dropping down to the floor from the height.
Yes, and that's the rarity in the office where I am. I have a vent on the ceiling, but every other room, the vents are at the floor level.
Yeah. Yep.
You live and learn.
So I thought if I was going to build another house, I would. I would want to put in floor heating.
Oh, you have to, man.
Underfloor heating,
right,
I should say.
Right.
So it's got the coils underneath the tile. So
you can do it underneath just about anything now.
Yeah, I kind of like tile though. Tile or marble, but I don't think I'm going to do marble floors.
No, because the staining capability of
and the expense capability.
Oh, but you're rich. You're a podcaster.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm a podcaster, which means I'm not rich. Exactly.
And you sell orange ponchos. I mean, you have to be a poncho millionaire by now.
Oh yeah, ponchoaire. A ponchoaire.
A ponchoaire. There you go. There's a show
I'm
title.
Basically one step away from being a Mexican street vendor.
Well, some of those guys make a lot of good money.
Mm-hmm. Selling ponchos.
Well, no, more probably likely tacos and street food, but
mm-hmm.
I mean, you could be a ponchoaire if you just...
What am I in the mood for lunch here on this Friday evening?
Lunch on an evening? Wouldn't that be dinner?
Oh, right now.
I've got some leftover pizza from yesterday. It did nice. I mean, the race was on, was enjoying it. Ordered a double feta.
You know what I haven't had forever is a hot dog.
Black olives. Oh, good Chicago dog's always delightful.
I kind of like the New York koshers.
Yeah, you're one of those, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, what should I try a deep dish? Haven't had a deep dish in such a long time. And I'm like, nah.
Oh, you should try a deep dish.
We'll grab one maybe next time. We'll get a deep dish.
Mm-hmm. And which ones do you like? The Pizzeria Uno?
The Beggar's Pizza is the latest version of the let's just say mainstream pizzas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have come along over the past decade or so, and to the point to where they even took over, you know, at the ballparks and that as the official pizzas. And I was intrigued by that whole thing as well. We may have talked about that at some point.
We did. Yeah.
Because it's like, I didn't realize that the people that own it are like, oh, you know, the Chicago White Sox go, well, if you give us $100,000 a year, you can be the official pizza and provide all the pizza at cost. So it's like, oh, wow. So you're literally just doing that to spread the word. You're
for marketing.
Yeah. You're not making money on having your pizza there.
Have you ever tried My Pie?
I don't think so. And that sounded very dirty.
My Pie was a deep dish pizzeria. Started in Chicago, or a little outside of Chicago, like on the west side. And then spread through Wisconsin and into Minnesota.
And it's MY pie. That's just the.
It's the symbol pi.
Ah, well, that's
My Pie with the pi symbol.
That's a lot harder to find.
Yeah, because it's not using the Latin alphabet.
You're like, what the hell are you doing?
You need a Greek alphabet for that.
Yeah, but it's good stuff. I mean, I've never heard of that.
Well, I don't know. I think there might be a couple of them left, but there used to be a whole bunch of them back in the 80s.
Just like when I really used to be Fuddruckers, man. Remember Fuddruckers, baby?
We still have Fuddruckers here,
Dude.
I think. Don't we?
I think Texas may be one of their last bastions. Yeah. It's like, that's unfortunate, man, because I thought Fuddruckers was a good burger.
Eventually, as our historical movies tell us, like Idiocracy, it eventually gets renamed to what is it? Rock Fuckers or something like that?
Right.
It slowly changes its name. Yeah, we still have, they're still open here.
And they still have one in, there is one pie, My Pie, still left in Chicago.
Oh, there is. Wow.
One.
Yeah, they used to have them all over Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota. It's like Midwestern deep dish.
For us, it's the Beggars. I mean, we have Aurelio's, which I know is all over the place now. But for deep dish, it would probably be Giordano's. Or, I mean, I know everybody loves it. I've tried it. I don't. Lou Malnati's, although it's the big one. Everybody's like, oh, you got to go to Lou Malnati's. It's like, no, I don't like it.
Don't like it, huh?
But then again, it's all the people. I saw all the NASCAR people like going to Portillo's for a beef sandwich. And it's like, there's so much better places. It was one of the best. But then the guy who started it at just a little stand that grew it into the massive thing that it is now, he sold it. So it's not as good as it used to be.
So there's a documentary about Fuddruckers you may want to watch if you have fond memories.
I saw one on YouTube that was like 15 minutes or so, but
yeah, maybe that's the same one I'm thinking of. But it's it had a bit of a toward history,
yes,
and lots of people meddling with it, with the concept.
Well, yeah, for a while there, it was owned by some buffet company, and it was like half buffet and half. I was like, damn. But I was happy to see that some dude bought it and is trying to resurrect it a little bit.
Yeah. It was, and we used to have the buffets here as well, but I think they shut down as well. But my memories from the 80s were of the flagship stores, like, you know, Fuddruckers that seats 150, 200 people.
Right.
It has their own butcher shop.
Right.
So as you're walking in, you see the butchers cutting the meat.
Oh, they're grounding the meat right in front of you, man.
Yep. And then a separate, milkshake area where they make all those and sell the pies and
then they had the toppings bar. Oh, I used to love
the toppings bar was always awesome. Like that was.
And they had the cheap nacho cheese that there was probably no cheese in, but so delicious.
The plastic cheese.
Yeah, the plastic cheese and jalapenos, just loading it over the burger, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was my idea of a good time.
And I love the relish. I used to just pile, because I don't know why people don't do this here. I've always done it at Fuddruckers. And what I mean by people don't do it is anywhere else. I've not run across this. Is to use relish on top of a burger very generously, kind of like you would with an avocado. So you have like a burger with, nice like half-pound patty, and then you've got cheese on top of that, and then I put like a quarter inch of relish on top of that. That's the entire width of the burger patty.
You got it.
It is so good. I think it's a lot better than just putting a couple of slices of pickle.
Oh, yeah. And I love pickle. I mean, that's when I get a White Castle, when you go to White Castle, which I haven't in like a year, I think, or over at this point.
Now, those, I don't think we have those. Let me look.
I like to go for extra pickle. And if they do it right, that just elevates those little things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now they're ISOing the I love pickle line. I can see why. This is going to be.
Everybody knows you love pickle.
I know. This is going to be. This is all I'm going to hear on Hog Story now is I like pickle. I love pickle. I love pickle.
So, yeah, we don't have them in Texas.
Maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe you're just not ready for it.
I think they're a northern thing.
I believe so.
Yeah, Midwest. They came from the Midwest.
I mean, they're the little burgers that just melt in your mouth.
I can buy them anywhere in the frozen section.
Yes, and they're not the same.
So there was a recipe that somebody did that I watched. I think it was Epicurious, I think, did it, where they recreated an authentic White Castle using the original recipes. And it looked very good. Obviously, I don't know what it tasted like, but it looked very authentic.
Well, the original ones were way more burger-like, where they have kind of morphed now into something completely different. I mean, they used to look like a regular thick patty, normal kind of burger, just smaller.
But they were never thick, though. Come on.
The original ones looked like they were. I mean, because when they did the original one and they had a thing, this was the last time I had it, was like a year or so ago, where they had the original ones back. The patty was probably 4 times thicker than what the patty is now. So it was more of like you were getting more meat, where now you're getting less meat. It is almost like paper thin.
Yeah. No, they used to be about the same as like a McDonald's cheeseburger. Not a Big Mac, but like the McDonald's, if you got a 69-cent cheeseburger,
right,
that would be the same patty as you would have in a White Castle. The thing that always made their patties different is they had those holes in them.
Yes, to get the steam grilling right through them.
Because that's what they were doing. They were doing steam grilling. So, and then I love the onions on there. And I don't know how you can have a White Castle without onions.
Oh, you have to. I mean, without the onions, they're just flavorless.
Yeah, totally.
But I liked them with extra pickle, ketchup, mustard, and extra pickle. Oh, I'm telling you, that was it. And they just melt. You don't even have to chew. They just melt in your mouth.
Well, and they are. I mean, the bun is mostly air.
Yes.
Let's face it. So if you take one of those, you put it between your hands and you squeeze very lightly, like don't even put too much pressure on there, the whole thing turns into about a 1/4 inch thick.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is you're buying mostly air, but also, which is why when you order it, do you want 4 or 8 or 16?
Exactly.
It's not a question. It was like, I'd like 1 burger, please.
No, nobody wants 1.
I cannot remember how much they used to be, but something tells me they were under 50 cents a piece.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're
like
now.
$5 a piece now.
But that used to be it. It was like 8 of them was about regular for 8 and some fries.
Yeah.
That was me in high school. 8. There was a white
Jolly Green Giants.
Right, for the Jolly Green Giant. I used to eat like all the worst stuff at all the worst time. My girlfriend at the time, now wife, lived about 20 minutes from where I was living, and on the way home, after dropping her off,
just enough time to pick up some food.
There was because White Castle never closed, nor did El Famous Burrito. So depending what I wanted, you could get a football-sized burrito or the White Castles, and made plenty of use for those.
Yeah, I bet.
It was always funny though when I would get the White Castles because my parents would, I'd be getting home at midnight. Well, that would wake them up, so I had to bring extra ones. Like, oh, you got White Castles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, White Castle smell will take even the deepest sleeper right out of a sleep. Like, oh, there's sliders.
Well, it's a very oniony smell,
and it's like I need some of that.
For
I need
sure.
me a little. But
God, we used to eat so unhealthy, man.
Yeah. Surprising we're still alive, especially with you and the cocaine.
Not for much longer, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and the cocaine, exactly.
Enjoy while you
man, the pounds and pounds of coke. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would help you work off the pounds and pounds of meat and burger.
I'm telling you, I've been gaining weight steadily because I'm not doing coke.
If you would just do more coke, you could be a model thin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we are a value for value show.
That's true.
As I said, we are pretty much doing this show for Dale,
one guy
from the great land of Aussie land.
That's right.
Who comes in again with 103.48.
Nice.
And he says, comrades. See, he knows the system.
Uh-huh.
Image search, Rexy car, and EVO car. Their common nicknames worldwide. Picked it up in 5 minutes. You've been had, Sir Gene. Well, that's probably true.
What's EVO car? What's he talking about?
You were saying you didn't know what Rexy car or something was. He's like, just look it up. REXY car or EVO car. He said they're common nicknames worldwide.
Rexy car?
Yeah. I had never heard of it, to be fair.
No such thing.
REXY car.
Yeah.
And EVO car.
Search, and it shows me a cartoon dinosaur.
To just do some better looking up there.
Mm-hmm.
He says Demolition Man is far better than Idiocracy. It stars a young lycra-clad Sandra Bullock, hubba hubba, with an Apple goggle sex scene to boot, which a young Sandra Bullock, I will not argue with that.
Oh, I like the way she looked.
I like
her personality too.
And she was, she was really good in the first, what was it? Speed was the name of that movie, right? Where you're driving a bus.
Mm-hmm.
If you get under 55 miles an hour, we're all going to die.
She was great in Miss Congeniality.
Oh, she was. That was hilarious. She was an FBI agent,
when I moved to Austin, she lived here and she owned a restaurant.
And she got out right after you got there?
Yep, pretty much.
She moved in. Got to go.
Mm-hmm. All right, hold on. Read that again. I'm not getting anything on Rexy. My
says
search
image
is not
search
anything.
Rexy car and EVO car. Do I have to do this too?
Yes.
Are we learning? Are we learning here, children? Should I do it in Google? Should I do it in Start Page? I like to use startpage.com.
I mean, okay, so is he talking about the Mitsubishi Evil Lancer and Subaru WRX? I'm confused because Rexy is not a thing. That's a dinosaur. EVO, the only EVO that comes up with cars is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo.
It looks like a Lamar project. It comes up as the Rexy. There's a few of those that look like and it's painted green like a T-Rex, and I think that's, but I don't know if that is the race car. I mean, we'll need some qualifications.
You need to clarify better because I don't understand what this is even relating to. What is he saying I'm wrong about?
We had talked about it, and you're like, you didn't know what it was, and I'm guessing you still don't know what it is.
No, I definitely don't. So
but I see the Rexy car. It looks like it's a racing Porsche, maybe.
If I'm going to have you take a screenshot and send it to me because my Google search returns nothing but pictures of dinosaurs and a Subaru WRX. That's all I'm getting for Rexy.
Well, you need to do a better search. Maybe your search engine is failing you.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe you need, you're still paying for that one, right?
Do I need to go and VPN to Australia to do the search?
It may be. Enable desktop notifications. No, stop hassling me, Adobe.
I mean, this car, it looks like the car that I had, but this is not clearly what he's referring to, I don't think.
This is what I get under Rexy car.
Okay, and here's what I get.
Yeah, that looks like a boring car, but it says Rexy.
Hey, screw you, man.
That was your car, the little Rex?
Yeah, the little blue one.
Subaru?
Mm-hmm.
That's what comes up on here, too, at whichcar.com.au. But I digress. There is more. Besides the Demolition Man. He says, Sir Darren O, proceed with caution into anime. Now, that is good advice.
Oh, yeah. Anime is that is a transitional drug.
He says, block anyone with an anime avatar.
I would agree with that.
The anime to trans pipeline is real.
Totally the case. Yeah, because there's a lot of dudes that aren't getting laid that watch anime of high school girls and all of a sudden decide that they want to be a high school girl.
That's how it happens, huh?
That's exactly how it happens.
He says this is evidenced by the amount of Transformer talk in the troll room. It's full of anime weebs. Oh, I didn't know Dale was in the troll room. He doesn't go by Dale from Down Under, I don't think.
Oh, what's he go by?
I don't know. He's probably undercover.
Probably. Mm-hmm.
Don't email, boost your hateful messages to the show in full knowledge that Sir Gene is refusing your dirty donations.
What?
It says, don't email, boost your hateful messages to the show in full knowledge that Sir Gene is refusing your dirty donations. You're like anybody under what Dale's given. You're like, you don't want it. He's the man. He set the bar.
I don't really see I don't even see anything coming from Dale because Darren never sends me anything.
Oh, was I supposed to send you part of this? I need to do the accounting. I need to do the accounting on that, I guess.
Yeah, you've been saying that for literally a year.
No, it was less than a year. I sent you one at the end of last year. So it can't be literally a year.
Did you though? Or did you just think that, I should send him something?
No, I did. Look at PayPal. You'll see.
I have looked at PayPal. I don't see anything from you like from in the last year or so.
Well, at the end of last year. But he says the audio dynamic of Unrelenting has always struck me as the Chad. Dynamic and powerful voice, Darren O. An energetic father podcasting in an effort to connect with his slightly muffled beta prepubescent voice stepson, Sir Gene. Like, damn.
He needs an ear check.
I love that he sent in big donations and then just like goes after you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much appreciated. I'm like, oh, what is and I didn't understand. I mean, it's a British thing, I guess, the Chad. That's like the popular kid. I didn't know that the Chad meant that. But I'm learning. This is a learning experience.
Yeah. If one of us is the Chad, I ain't you. But
well, right there's a good cold opener as well. There's been a few in this particular episode.
Yes. There's definitely a few to go around.
And he says, happy 4th of July in advance, y'all. Stay unrelenting, mofos. And he thought we'd be doing the show Friday, but now it's the new Friday.
That last part actually made sense. But, dude, you use more letters or something. I mean, you just need to be more clear in your communication because don't assume that things that you think are obvious because you're in Australia are going to be obvious because we're not in Australia.
Could be totally confusing for us.
And you guys have a lot of idioms. You have your own ways of saying things and thinking of things out there that don't translate to us here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's like, what do you mean put a shrimp on the Barbie? I got no idea.
Nobody says that in Australia. That's made up.
Well, and what was that for? That was for some restaurant. It would be a
prawn, not a shrimp.
Right. Was that? Oh, that was for the steakhouse.
Paul Hogan.
Right, Paul Hogan, but it was for
doing the ads for the beer for what's that beer?
Was it Foster's?
Yeah, Foster's.
Foster's. It's Australian for beer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just like Heineken is the Australian for beer nobody actually drinks in Holland.
We appreciate you listening and donating, Dale. And keep on taking shots at Gene. I'll eventually send him his money. Our buddy Sir Truck Driver came in with $5.65. That's monthly. Kevin Seifert with $5. That's monthly.
Mm-hmm.
That's appreciated. Our buddy Pfeiffer. He was sending in a boostagram of 11,111 Satoshis.
Nice.
Which out Satoshis, of course, the one and only CSB who sent in 8015. That is 8,015 Satoshis.
So what is that, $1?
No, that's about $2. So if you split it, it's a little over $1 a piece. I mean, Bitcoin's been doing well lately, so
it has been doing a little bit better. It's I think it's stalled.
I might need to dump my Lightning. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. I mean, I'm not dumping any of that stuff. Right? I think it's not big enough to do anything with, and it may someday actually be worth more.
And CSB says, "Howdy, crackers, Darren and Gene." Well, that's racially inflammatory.
Well, howdy, CSB, Polish guy.
Howdy, crackers, Darren and Gene. Please invite your audience to use my ChatGPT plugin called Podcast Search and to send me feedback about it via Twitter at CSB. It is available.
Where's the plugin? Did he give an address for the plugin that we're supposed to pitch?
He says it's available in the plugin store for paid subscribers, and you just search for Podcast Search. That's what the name of it is.
For what? What's the plugin for?
For ChatGPT. It will.
Okay. So ChatGPT store has the plugin.
Yes. Yo, CSB. And it will allow you to search all podcasts using ChatGPT, even though ChatGPT
doesn't have them in the thing.
Correct, because its learning model goes. So it's actually using the database or something which is cool.
Good job. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, and thank you, CSB. And thanks, everybody, for listening to the show, supporting the show. Unrelenting.show is where you go if you want to help.
I got a question for CSB. Okay. So I need to get some data around podcasting data. And I haven't gotten an answer back from Dave from Podcast Index.
So you're looking to scrape some data from the Podcast Index?
Exactly. So, and I know CSB's been pretty active in there as well. So I'll send you a DM and kind of tell you what I'm trying to get at. And if you have any ideas on how to do that, that would be appreciated.
Bemrose in the troll room says, wait, CSB likes Gene now? Am I the only Darren O co-host he still hates? Yes, you're the only one CSB still hates. I mean, you're lucky.
Uh-huh. Well, for a while there, I mean, after FCSB kind of made up with me, you were all hot and bothered with him.
No, I set boundaries. That's all.
What were the boundaries you set?
I'm like, stop saying that or I'm just going to block you. And then he's like, blocking's
that's a pretty
bad.
Big boundary.
Yeah. And then it never happens.
Yeah.
It all worked out.
Okay, good.
It all worked out. And yes, there is no Planet Rage today. Larry is off getting the hell out of California. I'm like, take your time, man. Why would you
do a Planet Rage today?
I mean, on Friday?
Done some other day usually. Yeah.
Right. I mean, sometimes we mix and match. We should do them together. We can overlap them.
Well, if you had a setup that allowed multiple people to be on the same time, I'm sure
I could do.
The last time I tried to call you, you couldn't figure out how to do it. So you had to.
I used caller ID and I was like, oh, Gene. Oh, no, not working. Podcast rig down.
Yeah.
I'm going through
it's breaking up. The line's breaking. It's breaking up, man.
I like I'm going through a tunnel better. It's like, aren't you at home? And then
crank call, crank podcast, man. I don't know who this is. Crank podcast.
Hey,
I don't know.
I'd rather have a hard out than a hard out. No, wait, that's not true.